Okay, welcome back again to our show, Kamusta Ka Brew, for our coffee break segment. Nice because naalala ko yung the first time I heard him. This was more than a decade ago when I was still a bank officer or guest right now. That's how much respect I have for him. So that's our for our first guest. Muna introduce ko, our first guest is the one and only Mr. Francis Kong.
Nakakatakot yung mga introduction ng ganyan, mga one and only, parang the one and only killer, serial killer or something. Pero maraming salamat, Tommy. You're very generous. Maraming salamat.
Okay, our next guest, which was actually yung next guest natin, dapat siya yung guest talaga. But it also helps because when I attended their event, this was 4 years ago, if I got sa Meralco, ang iniisip ko una, uy, si Brian, mukhang joining na. Tapos fast forward to a year ago, when they launched Pocket Mentor, oy, iba, hindi pala si Brian, it's the youngest. So, it's a surprise. It's a surprise even for me. It's like, but isip ko, it's a good combination also kasi. So without further ado, introduce you the CEO of Success Options Inc., Miss Rachel Kong. Thank you for giving your time actually. And it's really something. This is my first time also. I never imagined doing this actually. For Sir Francis, I want to ask this question. Typical for a parent, especially if I get to talk to parents, they want their children to join them. Talagang yung tipong requirement kasi to them parang discounted price, talagang discounted price yung sweldo, discounted. Discounted price kasi yung perception nila, laking tipid to discounted.
Kasi, oo.
So, what was the feeling that Miss Rachel decided to join you on this business?
It just happened.
Yeah.
Kasi at the time when she asked me for advice, ano bang kursong kukunin ko in college? And she presented a couple of options. Tinitignan ko yung natural giftedness niya. Sabi ko sa kanya, multimedia arts, bagay sa'yo yan. During those years, hindi pa nga alam ng mga magulang kung ano yung multimedia arts. Kaya pag tinatanong nila, kinukwento ko yung multimedia, sabi, ano, may pera ba dyan? Yung pag-shoot ng camera? Tsaka,
arts, yeah.
Arts, yung mga ganon. Siyempre, lalo na sa Chinese community, ang gusto nila hardware, tsaka construction, di ba?
Or doctor, or lawyer.
Or lawyer, o accountant.
Oh, yeah.
So, sabi ko, sige, yan ang kunin mo. How would I know that one day? Dito sa ginagawa ko, kailangan ko kasi ng, somebody to man my PowerPoint slides habang nagsasalita ako. Ayaw ko yung habang ako yung nag-represent, titigil, tapos mamaniobrahin ko yung slide. I hate that as a communicator. So sabi ko, I'll graduate ka na, wala kang trabaho. So para hindi ka kalawangin, tulungan mo na lang ako. Nagawa ka na lang mga slides, ganon. At that time, I have had other people assisting me in her job. But they're just there for the job. Ito naman, she absorbs everything na mga tinuturo ko. So how would I have expected that one day, mas marami nang alam to kaysa sa akin?
Wait, I have my own version of this story.
Oh.
Mamaya.
And then, sabi ko, sige, gawin mo na. Let me concentrate on what I do best. Learning, consultancy, preparation of lesson, delivering the lesson, and you can feel free to do whatever you want. Babagay sa natural giftedness mo, tsaka yung competence.
Yeah.
So how would I have expected one day siya na magiging boss ko? So siya nang humahawag ng negosyo kung consultancy at pagkatapos ni minsan hindi ako tinaasan ng sweldo. Grabe.
Uy, the percent ka nga eh.
So that was how it evolved.
Yeah.
And now, siya na humahawak at lumaki. lumakas ang cover. Oo.
Oo, lumaki.
So, sabi ko sa mga parenting seminars ko sa mga magulang, you will have to allow the younger people to surprise you with what they can do. Ibang panahon, iba rin ang giftedness nila. Nung sila'y nilikha ng Diyos, hindi sila ikayo. Iba yung purpose nila. And as long as it is not immoral, it is not illegal, I will support them with their ventures.
Yeah.
So, yun yung
That's
nangyari doon sa evolution from taga PowerPoint slide hanggang sa ako na ngayon ang pina-PowerPoint niya. Puro power, konting points.
Miss
Ah,
Stacia naman, I wanna ask this question kasi yun nga eh, coming from a batch or generation na, well, they have a crossroad basically. It's either they join their family business or they do not join because they don't want anything to do with
Yeah.
it also because of the discounted
yes.
setup or discounted eh. But
Yeah.
kasi yun lang nakita ko na, so the reason why they don't join is because they feel like they cannot get along with their parents. So kung sumali
Mm.
naman,
Yeah.
na nakuha ko naman puro reklamo, pang ikaw na naging soundboard na sa ko, I cannot even answer that question anymore. I'm not your parent. So
Yeah.
to Miss Rachel, what encouraged you? Just encourage you, just, hey, pa, sama ko sa'yo. Ganun.
Force. The joke lang. Joke lang.
Lalabas muna ako sa kwarto.
Yeah. So actually, he told the story of how we started working together. So I have my own version of this. Katawa. Okay na, ito na. So I just finished college and then I have around mga 3 months bago yung official graduation, yung diploma. So sabi nga, okay, anong gagawin mo from this time until then? May trabaho ka na ba? Nag-send out ka na ba ng mga resume? So, ikaw hindi pa. Sabi nga, okay, why don't you join me first? Ngayon, I don't think people know this, but sa family namin, or hindi ko lang alam kung ako lang to, or pati brother tsaka sister ko ganito din. Hindi namin talaga alam kung ano ginagawa ng dad namin sa
Okay.
trabaho. We have no idea. I just know that my teachers know who he is, which is very difficult in high school kasi alam nila yung grades ko, diba? Medyo parang, anong gagawin ko?
Baksak.
And then, minsan sa mall, may lalapit sa kanya, are you Sir Francis? Tapos kami parang, okay, parang, our dad is just very friendly. Parang gano'n. Medyo gano'n yung may books siya and stuff. Pero we never really felt that he was well known, he was well respected. We never really felt that. Kasi how he was outside is the same as how he is at home. Naglolokohan kami, marami kaming marami kaming mga jokes during dinner. Very normal lang.
Kinakain ko yung snacks niya. Ganyan.
Yeah. So ngayon meron kaming common snack area. Pantry, parang sa trabaho lang, may pantry. Free-flowing coffee and snack. So, nangyayari, when I started working with him, that's the first time na I really was forced to sit down and listen to his talks. And then, I think I was given 1 month to absorb kasi the assistant he had before, magsa-start na siya ng new venture niya. So, I had to take over for a little bit. And then, hindi ako nakikinig nung first month na yon. Kasi parang, ba't ako parang, alam ba yon, very fresh off of college, tapos syempre, dad ko, tapos parang bagong environment, matigas ang ulo. And then, nung nawala na yung assistant, ayun, I was forced to really find my own way on how to to merge our presentation, the technical side with his presentation. And at the same time, dun na ako parang na-force na really to listen to his talks, ano yung lesson na tinuturo niya. And then later on, during this time, sinasabi niya sa akin, temporary lang to ha. Ayoko sa akin ka mag-work. Temporary lang to. Mag-corporate ka. Sabi nga, mag-send ka ng mga resume. Habang sumasama ka sa akin, tingnan mo na kung saan mo gusto mag-apply, sabi niya sa akin. And then, 6 months down the line, I think we realized late na by that time na, mukhang magiging normal situation na to.
Walang may gustong kumuha sa kanya.
Or, hindi din ako nag-send ng resume. Pero grabe yung adjustment. As in, unang-una, sinong anak yung gusto makinig sa sermon ng tatay araw-araw? Pangalawa, sinong anak yung gusto magbasa pa ng mga sermon niya araw-araw? Tapos ikaw pa yung gagawa ng presentation niya, diba? So, parang triple whammy. And then, naalala ka, nagpa-pray ako. Sabi ko, Lord, there was a point na talagang nagsastruggle ako. Kasi, multimedia artist, night shift ka eh, if you're a multimedia artist. And then, all of a sudden, when I started working with him, he would wake me up, and then, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., trabaho, punta na agad sa, kasi grabe traffic. Airport, minsan 3 a.m., 1 a.m., punta na. So, what I think, I remember this. I prayed to God, Lord, bring me where you want me to be.
Yun, Zamboanga, Cagayan de Oro, Europe.
Yeah. And I remember when I was in high school, sabi ko, Lord, gusto ko yung job ko. I want to travel around. Pero I don't wanna miss my relationship with my family. Kasi usually yun yung baliktad eh. If nagta-travel around ka, hindi mo kasama family mo. So ayoko ng ganun. Ayan, dinala ko ni God sa family business. Yun yung answer niya. And then, 6 months down the line, what I did was, kasi syempre, it's very difficult father-daughter family business. How are you gonna talk to your dad about your ideas? Kasi syempre very, like, you wanna brand, you wanna rebrand. Ano naman yung rebranding noon? Bakit? Kailangan mo ba yan? Di ba? So, maraming, we learned a lot during our time together, working together, until hinajak ko na yung business niya.
Kaya nung sinabing, bibigyan kita ng 1 month kasi aalis na, so you will have to take over her work. She took over everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My next question for Sir Francis. Kasi ito, we are now day 500 plus. I get to hear this from other people na, when it started, di ba, yung unang ECQ, it started, hindi matapos na mga ilang buwan. Tapos, kinumpute ko na, wow, day 500 plus. How would you navigate the situation? Let's say, what are the lessons that you can teach to people, maybe owners or professionals? Kasi people are still hirap talaga eh. I get to encounter people who have not embraced since from the very start. Hindi pa rin na, siguro okay lang yung first few months, hindi mo na embrace kasi talagang, it's like a nightmare. But dapat after those months, dapat adjusted ka na. But moving forward to now, hindi pa rin eh. And I get to hear people working from home, na it's the same problem. They are still trying to figure out what's going on. And how would you describe, how would you suggest, how do we cope with this kind of challenges?
Yes. So my answer to that question is basically asking a question. Ba't mo binibilang yung mga araw na yan? What value can you get out of that? Hindi pag binibilang mo, March 16 yun eh. Tapos ilan na? do you get inspired by doing that?
Yeah.
Or do you get depressed? Kaya meron tayong kasabihan the past is your lesson, the present is your gift, the future is your hope and inspiration. So that kind of mindset, aayusin mo muna yan. Secondly, ito yung fundamental sa negosyo. Business is cyclical, business is seasonal.
Yeah.
Wala pa tayong napansin. When the business was doing well, you want more, but you were never thankful.
Yeah.
Now that the business is not doing well, you complain as if it's the end of the world. The wisest man that God has placed on planet Earth is Solomon. Sabi nga na, there are seasons to life. A time to born, a time to die, a time to get sick, a time to heal, a time for joy, a time for mourning. So these are now difficult seasons. And you might say na hindi kasi minomotivate lang ako ni Francis Kong. Kalokohan yung motivational speaking, maniwala ka. Galit na galit ako sa motivational speaking. The idea now is, take it from me, I'm no spring chicken. Ilan ng crisis ang dinaanan ko, naabutan ko pa nga yung political crisis and 911 and the Asian financial crisis. That's a tough one. Bakit? Nung nangyari yung Asian financial crisis, wala kang social media, wala kang pagkakataon na mag-family business sa bahay. Walang internet pa nung araw.
Yeah.
You just were paralyzed without knowing what to do. And so, kaya siguro, I'm a little bit more hopeful because of the experiences I've had. Ang crisis hindi lang business, ha? May relationship crisis, merong trust betrayal crisis.
Yeah.
Meron din yung mga friendship crisis and everything else, economic crisis, nadaanan ko na yan. So what if I learn out of that? It is the fact na all crises will pass, including this one. Next, every single crisis changes us. Nagbabago tayo eh. So, what business people like you and me should do is to make sure that this crisis changes us for the better. How's that? Nagsasuffer ang negosyo ko. Hey, I've got news for you. It's happening on a worldwide basis.
Yeah.
So, kanina lang, nakapag-TNA ako, that's Training Needs Analysis, with a huge company as I will be addressing their franchisees. Maraming nagsuffer. So, this is exactly what I'm going to be encouraging them about. Kasi, look, the way you look at things will define your thinking. And your thinking will define your behavior.
Yeah.
And your behavior now will bring about the decisions you're gonna make. Alam mo yung alam mo yung kasabihan na when you look at the glass, what do you see? Half empty, half full? Ay nako, sawang-sawa na ako dyan. Maniwala ka, lahat ng motivational speaker ginagamit yan. Kaya pag sinabi mong half full, optimist ka. Half empty, you are a pessimist. Kulang. Di mo ba naintindihan? The glass is not half full. The glass is not half empty. The glass is refillable.
Yeah.
Kaya yung mga negosyante na ngayon na masyadong depressed and everything, I understand your trouble. You're not unique in this. But the way you're going to be looking at this and handling the situation will define whether kahit mawala na yung COVID na yan, are you going to succeed or are you going to fail? Will you explore opportunities that will come out of it or are you going to just remain there and wallow in misery and complain? Because it will not add value. Kaya my answer kahit mahaba, the shorter one is this. Huwag ka magbilang ng araw.
Yeah.
Don't count.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Ang take ko doon is a change of perspective kasi ba half empty, half full. Why not refillable? That's a good perspective. And I realized nga na, like for example, because of this pandemic, I never thought doing this. Actually, I have no idea what I'm doing right now, but I'm doing this literally because of this pandemic. It's something you have to change everything. Thank you for that, Sir Francis. First, Miss Rachel, itong question ko. One of the interesting things that I encountered about success options is pocket mentor. Can you share more about
Right.
Pocket Mentor?
Pocket Mentor is basically it's a company that was formed by other different companies coming together with a shared vision, which is we wanted to bring um, good quality mentors and make them accessible in everyone's time and anywhere they wanna be able to learn something, they have access through Pocket Mentor. So that was our original plan kasi we formed this parang organization siya eh. So we started talking to other companies. Someone approached us about this idea. And it was it was during the time na grab yung talk sa radio is grabe yung traffic, 3 hours ka na sa traffic, tapos sa mga lesson niya, tinuturo niya yung sa mga tao na, do you wanna be successful? If you wanna be successful, then um, you should learn. Spend this many hours learning. So, rather than spending your time for entertainment,
Playing games.
watching videos, why don't you invest your time in learning? So, with that in mind, we form Pocket Mentor, pero ang daming challenges kasi there's a lot of technology involved. Parang mag-release ka ng bagong product, and then, syempre, iba-ibang companies. So, parang, how are you going to come together? Do you have a shared vision, shared values?
At iba-iba yung subject matter experts.
Yes, iba-iba yung subject matter experts. How are we gonna choose which mentors are we gonna approach and bring to the table? And then the pandemic happened last year, sa March, and then we realized, hey, we have an ongoing project. Why not release it now? Bring in yung mga mentors na nakausap namin, have them sit down on the table through a live streaming Facebook live streaming portal, which nung time na yun, parang people were still learning about it. And then have a conversation about what's happening now. Real talk. Parang, what do you think about emotional intelligence,
Marami
mindfulness?
yung mga topics kasi that's covered is being delivered by experts.
Yeah.
One of the main motivation kasi, nung wala pang COVID, laganap yung mga motivational speakers. Kaya ako talaga, sabi ko, sinisira yun nila yung industriya.
Yes.
Marami kang nagtuturo ang leadership. They have never even led an organization before. Marami nagtuturo ng investment. Kilala ko naman walang pera eh. Hindi nga marunong humawak ng pera. At pagkatapos na criss-cross, yung mga iba, puro motivation na lang. Eh, ang laki ng issue sa buhay. Bakit? Eh, kasi how can you teach when you've never had if you're not a practitioner? Eh, di mangungopya ka lang. Yung mga material, makikinig, tapos kokopyahin nila, ituturo nila. Kaya sabi ko, hindi pwede yun eh.
Yeah.
Nakakasira sa industriya. So we made sure that the people we got as mentors through the platform Pocket Mentor that democratizes training. Kasi subscription basis, nagiging economical ang scale and everything else.
Yes.
Ay talagang silang pinakamagaling in their craft. Yung bang malaman mo lang yung pangalan nila, hindi mo na questionin
Yeah.
yung pedigree nila eh.
Yeah.
So that was one of the biggest and the strongest motivational motivation factor behind Pocket Mentor. At tuwing nakakakita ako ng mga nako-commute na puro games, ang nasa isip ko, ngayon champion ka na ng Tetris at Angry Birds. How do you monetize that now? Sayang
Yeah,
sayang.
We wanted to bring people with experience but are also local Filipinos. Kasi maraming mga lesson galing sa West, but some of them you can actually apply, but a lot of them you can't.
Yeah.
Kasi yung culture nila iba, especially sa workplace, sa corporate, parang tayo mas reserved pa rin tayo when it comes to workplace eh. Parang hin- sa kanila kasi some of them they're very direct. So how do you talk to a culture that is a little bit more reserved, hindi nagsasabi, pero bigla na lang mag-resign. Alam mo yung mga ganon. So we wanted to bring in experts who understand
The
the
local
local
culture.
culture.
Thank you for sharing that. Actually, nagustuhan ko din siya kasi it's something fresh, something new. Kasi nisip ko, you can only count a few well-known speakers, but it's also nice na parang we're not basing it on popular speakers, you're basing it from expertise. Yun
Yes.
yung portion na rin. And like what shared ni Sir Francis, kita ko din naman yung the first time I heard Sir Francis is a CEO of this apparel company. Parang because of that experience, that is the reason why you listen to it. Kasi meron ng pinanggalingan yan. Hindi yung huhulaan mo pa,
Yes.
parang magsasuggest ka ng something tapos hindi pala applicable sa...
Oo.
Yeah.
Maraming mga experts na hindi popular. Maraming mga popular na hindi experts.
Yeah.
Ngayon,
Yeah.
paano mo malalaman kung sino expert, sino hindi? Ang mga experts, pangit ang website. Yung mga kunyaring experts, gaganda ng webpage.
So, mga experts, kung gusto nyo ng magandang website,
Pa-design sa
pa-design
kanya.
kayo sa... Joke lang. Joke lang.
Okay. Siguro ito next question ko. This is quite a popular training that you're conducting. Even before the pandemic, nakikita ko siya, it's really, wow, ang mahal nito ah. Tapos the pandemic, nagmura konti, nagmura kasi online na to. It's level up leadership. I want to ask that question is, without spoiling anything about level up leadership, what makes it so timeless, level up leadership?
Because I keep on changing the contents.
Yes.
Ina-update at ina-upgrade ko yan. Ngayon, what makes it timeless also is you can apply it everywhere you go. As a parent, leader ka rin eh. As a friend, leader ka rin. Non-profit, leader ka rin eh. As long as, I represented John Maxwell's leadership training for 10 years. Ito naman ang sinabi niya. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. But how do you fix that within the context of an organization and working with other people? So, ayoko naman sabihin sa mga materials ko na this is something that helps develop yourself, although it is. Kasi mamaya sasabihin na naman nila, motivational speaker, that's not my point. The point now is, how are you going to apply the leadership skills that you have right now, elevate it into more competence, more competent level, and then increase your influence for good, not for bad. Kaya ako naman natutuwa dahil we have a lot of, we even have our uniform people from the armed forces attending. So nakikita nila ngayon yung effect nito. Well, we even have somebody who attended na pwedeng buhatin ikaw at ako at ihagis tayo.
Yeah.
Si Heidelin Diaz umaten yan.
She's such a genuine person.
Yeah. And a learner.
And a
Talagang
learner.
nag-aaral.
Talagang humble.
We have artista, we have basketballista. So they find it very useful. And yun, how do you level up? Kasi akala kasi ng tao, pag binigyan ka ng position, leader ka na. That's not it. That's not even the beginning point. You have to understand that our competence, our skills should be able to cause positive influence and add value to others. So the question now is how? And the answer is, again, my level up leadership.
At levelupleadership.ph.
Even pastors and church leaders have attended.
Yeah.
So nakita ko naman yung the humility of the senior pastors and the associate pastor of Union Church together with the leaders. They also attended.
Yeah.
Kaya afterwards, I asked them, so how do you find the program? Sabi na, wow, there are so many things that we do not see in
Yeah.
what we do.
Especially for the younger
So,
generation.
yeah, and now that he's running the organization, medyo nakakatulong din naman ng konti.
For Miss Rachel, before I ask the question, kasi the thing I discovered kasi recently, I was chatting with my former boss, and I mentioned nga I used to be with the bank. Sabi niya, nahihirapan siya kasi hindi niya alam gagawin because they are about to lay off people again. And
Yeah.
tapos nakita ko when we're doing the show, I realized there's a need for entrepreneurship. It's really now the option actually. And in the marketplace
Yeah.
means if you ask the employees, what's your aspiration? They want to have their own business. It's always the same answer. Laging ganon. Hindi lalayo doon. Have my own business, have my own business. And now we are in a situation in these difficult times also na parang bagay siya. It really fits the situation. And you were mentioning something about what you're about to launch. Can you share more about it?
One thing that I really like about being in this industry is there's so many opportunities to learn and also to kind of widen your perspective. So it actually starts with that. Yung dad ko, syempre na-mention niya baksak ako no high school kasi hindi ganito perspective ko no high school. But after alam naman niya, mahilig din ako magbasa ng libro. So when I started working with him, that's really when parang I realized the value of education and how that is where you start, and then when you apply education, that's when your perspective starts to widen and you get to acquire more experience, and you'll see, does this work or does this not work. The thing is with this pandemic is a lot of things has changed. So even yung needs ng tao parang na-heighten. Parang na maraming needs na biglang kailangan mong i-prioritize. And then, yung when it comes to work, so kami syempre, family business. So alam namin yung hirap ng owners na how are we going to get business para yung mga tao that work with us, that we work with, can still have a job, but at the same time, yung company mo sustainable. Kasi kung hindi mo ma-sustain yung cash flow ng company, edi everyone will not have a job. Everyone will suffer together. So how are you gonna have that balance? So grabe, with that in mind, at the same time, we know maraming mga employees ngayon, and I think I'm not sure if other companies has done this. Pero I think mas naging open na sila na mag-sideline yung mga staff nila. Like on the side, mag-freelance, magbebenta sila ng scents or magbebenta sila ng facial creams, mga ganon. So like I think mas naging open na yung owners for that kasi naintindihan nila yung need ng tao for having more avenues to earn. So with that in mind, we wanted to look for partners who can help us. Kasi we know that eto yun eh. I learned this from one of the talks na sinama niya ako. Parang sinama niya ako sa WOBI, World of
Business Ideas.
World of Business Ideas.
New York.
Right before the pandemic hit. So there was this one professor who said, innovation has less to do with competence and more to do with relevance. So with that in mind, how can you be more relevant as an entrepreneur when everything has changed? Sales channels, how are you gonna get more clients when maraming mga sales channels, risk factor siya kasi biglang magla-lockdown. So yung traditional na sales channels mo biglang mawawala. So with that in mind, we found a tech partner, Globe Business partnered with us para pwede silang pwede namin going free. So, anyone, basta business owner ka, just send us proof of business. And then you can attend. We can reserve a seat. And he will be talking about, it's going to be like a level of entrepreneurship masterclass, virtual. So, 3 hours worth, three
Each day,
days.
3 days.
And then with each day, there's going to be one expert. It's all about business.
Yeah. So we're gonna have somebody teach us about the basic handling of finances in business.
In day one.
So day one yun. Kasi basic tool eh. Importante
Yes.
yung marunong ka humawak ng pera. On day two, we're gonna be, grabe to. I learned so much from her.
Yeah.
She's gonna teach about business recovery. At pagkatapos, she will add in a little bit of the digital component, the risk in cyber business and security. And on the third day, this is huge. We're gonna ask somebody who's an expert. He is running the digital part of his big company, and he's gonna teach on digital marketing. So ito ay ituturo natin ngayon sa mga tao, courtesy of Globe, Saludo SME, tuloy tayo Pinoy or something like that, no, yung
Yes.
kanilang slogan. And then we're gonna offer it for free. But maraming sasali. So gusto namin show proof of business na ikaw talaga negosyante.
Yes.
Eh ngayon, kung hindi ka naman negosyante, pagbigyan mo na muna yung iba. Doon ka na
Yeah.
lang sa Joe de Mango. Doon na lang tayo sa love.
Free din naman yun.
Oo,
That's
free din naman.
August 23.
Just go to his
August
Facebook
23.
page.
Oo.
August 23 pala. So,
Yeah.
anyway, before we end, kasi the reason why it's perfect also na the dad said yes also. And kasi the first thing that came to my mind, well, it's not a perfect tandem. I think it's not a perfect relationship also. It's Solomon and his son Rehoboam. When Rehoboam became the next king, parang sayang kasi nahinayang ko sa opportunity na si Rehoboam, he sought the advice of the elders, yung kabatch ng yung pinagkatiwalaan ng dad. When he listened, he just rejected the idea. He went to his batchmates, mga peers niya. He listened to advice, and lo and behold, it really created a problem, a civil war, a split. And when I was observing, ideally, dapat maganda yung tandem na ganon. Kasi isip ko, I grew up listening to Sir Francis. Talagang when I entered the workforce, talagang talagang nakatatak sa mind yung this is the guy we're listening to. And at the same time, especially right now, the workforce, there are now slowly the Gen Z are entering. Siguro wala pa naman 10%, pero papasok na yan. And it's a good tandem in a sense for me na Rachel came to the picture. It's for that crowd also. And see, kung ako isang Gen Z ako kasi layo ng age ko, hindi na Gen Z eh. I would listen to Sir Francis because Rachel is in partnership with that. Parang ang ganda ng tandem. So, now I want, before we end, ano yung pwede yung advice right now that for the viewers, what we can do about this season? For Sir Francis muna, what's your advice for us?
Conduct a Bible study about Solomon and Rehoboam. Kasi ang lalim nun.
Yeah.
For example, while we are blaming Rehoboam for listening to the peers instead of the elders, ako naman, leadership ang turo ko. Si Solomon na may kasalanan yan. Why were you not able to instill the godly values that you should be teaching samantalang God gifted you with wisdom? Kaya dahil kay Solomon, there produces a Rehoboam that split the kingdom. So, I mean, si Solomon distracted na eh. Can you imagine 700 ang wives mo, 300 concubines, di ka pa satisfied?
Mahirap yun.
How do you deal with 700 mothers-in-law? Sige nga. So now, hindi mo na naituro yon. At pagkatapos, ito yung advice. para sa mga bata, lalo na sa mga business people now, lalo na mga Gen Z, huwag kayong basta-basta makikinig dun sa mga experts sa social media.
Yeah.
At huwag kayong makikinig dun sa mga taong kulang sa
Mm.
experience. Ngayon, for example, I'll give you one good example. Huwag kang makinig sa akin kung ako'y magtuturo ng theology, hindi naman ako pastor eh.
Mm.
Second, huwag kang makikinig sa pastor, magtuturo ng negosyo, hindi naman siya negosyante eh. Kung meron man siya, matagal na siya wala sa negosyo. And so, you have really to seek kung sino talaga yung may competence at may expert. Doon ka makikinig. And secondly, galit man tayo sa ating mga magulang dahil hindi naksushoot ngayon yung values. You have to understand the reason why. That's gonna take another hour of
Yeah.
our session. One, merong generational gap, hindi na naintindihan ngayon ang behavior ng mga bata. Two, sila galing sa hirap yan. Naitayo nila itong negosyo. Ngayon ipapasa sa iyo, hindi dahil sa ayaw nilang mag-succeed ka. Gusto nga nila eh.
Mm.
Natatakot lang sila na kapag mali ngayon ang desisyon mo, mararamdaman mo yung pain na naramdaman nila when they were starting the business.
Yeah.
And number three, you really need to train yourself on how do you sell an idea.
Yeah.
Gumawa ka ng strategy, gumawa ka ng business plan, and then i-present mo ngayon. Here's the challenge. Eh kung ikaw, habang lumalaki ka doon sa bahay na yan, nakikita na magulang mo, magaling ka mag-start ng isang project, hindi mo tinatapos, mahihirapan sila maniwala ngayon dito sa mga business plans mo. So it will take a little bit more convincing,
Effort.
pero hindi ka dapat mawawalan ng patience. And then, finally, pagdating sa family business, ito ang, I said so many things, you can forget everything. But this is what you should not forget. In every family business, you choose the family first before business.
Yeah.
Kahit mali sila, learn to cultivate that relationship of love and affection kasi family eh. Kahit na maging successful ka, maniwala ka. Kung hindi naman naging maganda ang relasyon mo sa iyong magulang and family members, you will live the rest of your life running a successful business with an empty heart and soul. It will never be complete. So,
No.
yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Kiss.
for sharing that.
Yeah.
So learning ko doon is, nisip ko, yun nga eh, parang kung business nagka-problema, pwede pang ayusin. But family nagka-problema, ibang usapan na
Yeah.
yan. And there's a reason, nisip ko, you mentioned about changing your perspective na from half empty, half full to refillable. Yung naisip ko, maybe there's a reason why work from home, it's supposed to be
Yes.
for family na talaga to. It's to build the family. I guess it's a blessing on its own if we gonna see it that way. For Miss Rachel, your advice, kasi it's about joining your dad. I heard this from someone. I think Sir Francis knows them personally. I think it's a late taipan. It's a late taipan who is asking his grandchildren to join them na. And para may mga resistance. I have also a former mentor na yung anak, I think makilala din to ni Sir Francis, ko kilala niya din. Yung anak, parang ayaw din di sumali, nag-fashion design.
Yeah.
Iba yung ginawa, hindi sumali sa farm business. What's your advice about joining or not joining? Kasi at least, baka pwedeng pilitin naman talaga, baka hindi talaga workable yun. Kasi naalala ko may isang kaibigan ako, para hindi sila mag-away ng kapatid niya, huwag ka na makialam, ito sweldo mo. Binabayaran kita na hindi ka makialam. Huwag ka na makialam. I'm paying you. Paano yung away? So, si Miss Rachel,
Yeah.
why to join or why not to join?
Oh, okay. So I think na-mention naman ni Aya Tommy. Aya. na-mention mo na tatlo kami, diba? Tapos I'm the youngest. And then nakakagulat kasi rather than the eldest, normally eldest yung sumasali sa family business. Eldest son, usually. He broke all the rules and ginawa niya. Yung youngest daughter, yung sumali sa business. So, paano siya nangyari? Number one, as anak, growing up, I think, plinano na nila ng mommy ko. Growing up, they made us interested in business, entrepreneurship. So, nung nauso yung mga bazaars, sumali kami, nagbebenta kami ng mga t-shirt, yung kapatid ko nagbebenta ng mga jewelry. And then, nung nag-graduate na, yung brother ko, after working in the corporate field, biglang lumapit siya sa parents ko. Gusto niya magtayo ng restaurant business, si Brian, which is Crazy Katsu. They funded, they helped lend.
No interest.
No interest. Zero interest. So, perfect. And then,
Pay when able.
yes, pag kumita na, that's
Hindi
the
papasa
only
sa
time.
Robinson's Bank yan.
Pero may libreng chicken katsu naman ko. So, nung lumaki na yung business, my brother paid everything. And then yung kapatid ko, yung sister ko, fashion design din. Rather than working with him, actually, si Achi yung unang
Yeah.
nag-encode pa siya para sa mga talks. Pero hindi siya pumasok sa business eh. Nagtayo siya ng sarili nga, which is wedding design.
Boutique.
The thing that's common with us three is, hindi nga sila pumasok sa family business. Pero lahat kami, we learned from our parents. We still get their advice. So if you look at it that way,
For free.
if you look at it that way, lahat kami are still following in their footsteps. So we don't work in the same industry, but we're still following in their footsteps. So that's number one. Number two, paano naman ako? Bakit ako nag-join? After being forced into joining, syempre may resistance nung una. Pero eto yun eh. I was thinking about this yesterday. When two solid things collide, something's gonna break. But when one is softer, yung heart. Prepared ko na kay Jody Mango. But when one thing is softer, and then one thing is solid, and then they collide, it's not really gonna break because something's gonna cushion the collision, diba? So, nung nagsa-start kami sa business, temporary pa lang ako. Siyempre, ang dami naming adjustments. Kasi, unang-una, multimedia artist, tapos millennial. So, mahilig sa cellphone magtrabaho, sa laptop. Hindi normal sa amin yung naka-desk. Tapos CPU, yung although ngayon medyo meron na. Pero minsan nakahiga ka sa kama, pero nag-a-answer ka ng client emails, tsaka text. Hindi naiintindihan ng older generation. So minsan sometimes they think naglalaro ka lang. Pero actually hindi. So what do? You communicate. Educate, communicate.
Educate the parents.
Pakita mo na actually nag-a-answer ako ng emails, i-CC mo yung parents mo kung kailangan para makita nila. 2 a.m. nag-a-answer ng email, biglang mag-shift yan. Matulog ka na, bukas mo na sagutin yan. Baliktad na yung conversation from magtrabaho ka na to matulog ka na, pahinga ka na, ganun na yung magiging conversation. And then, pag may idea ka, ito yung natutunan ko sa kanya. Present your idea with visuals. As in, do your research. Para kung may idea ka, kanyari ako, branding, diba? Sabi ko, yung level of leadership actually, first project ko yan. So the logo is actually what I designed. And yan yung first ever pitch ko. As in, I don't treat your parents as your parents. Alam mo, nakakatawa. As a child working for the family business, lagi ka nagko-complain, ano tinitreat niya ako as anak eh. Pero minsan kasi, nakakalimutan mo, you also treat your parents as your parents. So parang, sometimes, you have to present your ideas. Imagine mo na, boss mo yan.
Client.
Client mo yan. Client mo siya, hindi mo siya magulang, client mo siya, you have to pitch an idea para makuha mo yung sale. So, yun yung ginawa ko. Gumawa ko ng PowerPoint presentation, nilagay ko yung logo, bakit ganun yung logo na na-design ko, tapos gumawa ko ng mock-up, yung kunyari, kung in-apply mo yung logo to this product, ano yung lalabas? Maganda ba siya? Kasi minsan hindi na nai-imagine ng kausap mo eh. So after that, you explain while you're showing the PowerPoint presentation. You force them, okay, Dad, sit down ka muna, may papakita ko sa'yo.
Daming trabaho niyang ginawa. Sa dami ng slides. Sige, approve niya yan.
Sa kulit, pumayag na siya. So doon nag-start yung adjustment namin dalawa. And then from there, we send each other articles. So with that, yung kanina you mentioned kay Solomon, with that, sometimes with so many new things, when there's a crisis, experience really matters. So, kunyari ako, this is my first really big crisis. Wala ngang internet noon, pero may mga bagay na in-apply ng generation before that helped them through their crisis. So, experience matters with a situation like this. So, tanungin mo, parang, you get advice from people who have gone through,
Been there, done that.
And then you'll see, okay, you decide, does this work? Or how am I going to apply this so that yung lesson na yun maging relevant during a situation like this? So, ganun siya. And at the back of, behind everything, actually, ang pinaka-important, I think, is yung mommy ko. Hindi lang kasi siya yung accountant namin sa family. Lahat ng finance siya yung naghahawak. Pero kasi, every day, yung mommy ko yung nagpe-pray. Parang quiet lang siya and she's always the one praying for all of us. All of the business, all of the people that we work with, yung clients na makakausap niya. She's always the one who's very faithful. I don't know, siguro nung talk na napakinggan mo yung dad ko sa Meralco, yung mommy ko nasa likod.
Yeah, nagpe-pray.
Nagpe-pray lang siya lagi. Lagi siya kasama eh, actually. Hanggang ngayon, kanina nandito siya. Ayaw nga magpakita. Yeah. So yun,
Actually,
yun yung long answer.
Actually, it's thank you for sharing eh. With yung sum up nyo, Sir Francis was able to share about relationship. Kasi si Solomon,
Yes.
okay. Baka hindi maganda relationship niya kay Rehoboam. So tingin lahat ng advice ng mga kabatch, ng mga elders, baka killjoy mga to, baka they will not gonna, baka konto to, wag na pakinggan to. So relationship. To Rachel, naisip ko yung communication and adjusting it. Kasi nalala ko yung lumabas itong word na to, I think you encountered this. The first time na narinig ko, sumikat to, flex. Sabi ko, flex, di ba sa muscles yan? Iba pala flex. Show your picture, show your post. Iba pala yung meaning. Parang, kailangan pa, iba pala yung tumatak sa isip ko. Parang like Rachel said, she has to explain it. You communicate at the same time, you are gonna adjust that. Ang ka-adjust ka doon sa makikinig kasi iba talaga eh. Dami kasing mga ghosting na yan. Sabi ko, yung mga nakuus na words.
Yeah, gina-ghost yung biglang nawawala.
Wala parang, ano mga yan. Thank you for our guest today. I really appreciate your time. For those who are interested, please follow the page sa FB
Two.
too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Asus kong 2
And
sa Facebook.
thank you for taking your time, Sir Francis. I really appreciate
Thank you. Thank you,
for
Tommy.
taking this invitation. Thank you, Miss Rachel, actually, for
Thank
making this
you.
possible also. And for the
Yeah.
viewers, I hope this
Sorry,
really
pinilit
helps.
kita. Pinilit kita. Hindi na, okay na yan. Yeah.
There's always a first. Inisip ko, na,
Yes.
sasanayin ko ng sarili ko. Baka, kasi it's my first time to do something like this eh. Sabi ko, baka may masabi ako hindi maganda. Tapos ako dito. Thank you for
Hindi.
your time. And for the viewers, I hope this interview helps. Please feel free to follow their page and
Yeah.
their upcoming events. I hope to hear from you also. And God bless everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Salamat. God bless.